This is Logicalmgtow. Welcome to another segment of Logicalmgtow. Uh, it does seem to me that the Mgtow movement is working. Thus far, I've only seen only a small number of indications, and even that of what's been brought up by many Mgtow members, current and new Mgtow members. And one of our Mgtow members has a white hat with a dark lettering of Mgtow, and he's within the U.S. Mm, and he thought the the terminology of the way I used on one of my videos, in the sense of using the Star Trek terminology of tractor beaming, in which basically in a Star Trek terminology, that's what women are doing, or at least trying to do to the male gender, essentially, because they don't want to lose their chance of getting at our resources. They don't want to have the chance lost of where they'd be able to take us for everything that we men have, and they're afraid if they lose that, even though with the thanks of the ERA, the 1970s feminist movement, um, and in which basically had it toward the Equal Rights Amendment bill was put into law by between 79 and 80, 1979 that is, in 1980, that they don't want to have to worry about spending their own money. They want to use our resources, our income, being the male's income, of the male's resources, uh, better bettering the female in general from within, as well as the extravagance bullshit of items that they don't really need, besides all the makeup and the fashionable clothing and whatnot else that they always think they have to get just to be in style, and up to date and things. And yet there's many women that use the same aspect of going to, say, thrift shops and getting the same clothing that you'd be able to get in places like Macy's and such like that. And a small percentage of those women are not the ones that we Mgtow have been talking about. And those are hard. Those type of women are hard to find. I can guarantee that. But but I know we Mgtow don't want to take the chance of experiencing if they are actually that of what they don't seem to be. You know what I mean? And to answer the new Mgtow member with the white hat and the black lettering saying Mgtow, saying is that when it comes to alphas and beta males, essentially, is that there's one thing he's missing. And I'm not. This is not a rant. This is not a roast or rant against the dude or nothing. But I'm just telling you. I'm just saying one thing. The basic fact is that even if the guy is pining, generally giving his all full willingness to be subservient to the woman, bow down to her illogical crap that she pulls, even being by the male being manipulated, mentally as well as psychologically. He doesn't. Those ones that are pining for the woman don't see the actuality of what women are truly about. If especially even if he's been through it once before, like Tom Likas has been 4 times, but like when Tom Likas did it the first time, he took some time for himself and then went a second time, and he took some more time for himself, even more than the first time. Then he went for the third time. Then he took even more time for himself after that one, and then he went to the fourth one. Then after that, he said, "Fuck it all. Women are not worth their without worth all the fucking stress and bullshit that they've essentially try to act like, oh, I'm a woman, I would never do that to you, but men have done shit to me." They always use that same fucking thing on every fucking guy, man, seriously. And yet they expect the guy to fucking fall for that shit. As I have mentioned on one of my other videos, is that simply yesterday I talked to a woman on one app, being an Instagram app chat, and she tried to pull the same shit, but yet she kept on proving my point of what I was telling her, and she shut up because she didn't know what else to say, because she knew that at the same time there's nothing she can say to convince me of otherwise. That's part of being Mgtow strong right there, man. But here's another one. Well, yesterday I went on to the TikTok app. There was one woman that was all crying in tears, all upset and all this other stuff by being stood up. And yet this is a single mother. And she claimed that she really liked him and all this other stuff. But yet I'm sure the reason he stood her up, which was a Mgtow movement in the sense of this, which would be in the sense that he knew her hypergamy way before she even went on the first date with him. He hopefully knew that his senses told him of her true intent, and thereby, with the fact that she was a single mother, her true intent would be to what Tom Likes has talked about many times, is where the court system would follow what the woman says, okay, by saying when she says, "My son or daughter looks at this gentleman as the father of his or hers," even though logically they know, even in the biological standpoints, that the child is not the biological child to the particular male occupant in question. But yet the court systems have gone so far, even in the state of California especially, and other states as well, just to let you know, to go by with what the woman says, thereby even if the father is still around, but not in the picture, as it were, right? Um, the at times the biological father would be cut off, not having to pay a dime, and the guy that she's seeing and still dating has to fucking fork up more than a fucking date in one night costs. Which basically he would be essentially forking all a larger percentage of his income till the child turns 18 years of age, and all the while till such time that the child would easily be benefited. But of course, there are many single mothers that would benefit themselves and not so much with the child. And yet, if you talk to a single mother, they'll fucking deny it. But I know a number of them would do exactly what I just said. But also, there's single mothers that would benefit equally the child first, then the mother, and sometimes the mother first, then the child, equally on the same level. But not all the time. I can guarantee that. And the other thing is, too, is that the alpha male and beta male situation. I can tell you honestly, and with all logic and respect to every Mgtow member, even the one with the white hat, then that to women they don't really fully look at who can give it to them sexually the best, full off as much as we men like to think. It's more the fact of I'm gonna tell you straight out. It's more the fact of they'd give themselves to the guy as long as are benefited with his income, his resources, his basic more than willingness to be more than subservient to her, and more to the points of bowing down to her feet and everything, um, and um, and more to the points of to where that she would make sure that he would essentially go to the points like where he is going to do anything and everything for her, and still without question ignore his own benefit, his own willfulness for himself, and his own health and beneficial things for him and within himself. That's what women are doing nowadays. It doesn't matter if you're a beta or an alpha, and really, there's no real alpha in general. There's a commonplace of in between to beta and in between to a newbie, if you will, in the sense of one that is starting it out in the dating world for maybe the first or second time. But again, there's no real aspect of alpha like there was thought to be in the 1990s. That alpha beta crap is long gone, especially when it comes to females. The alpha female and beta female and the central aspect of the female, that in itself for the female gender is gone too. And yet with that though too is that it doesn't matter if the woman truly follows and supports the feminist movement of today, even the Me Too movement of today. Mm, Even if they truly do not. But guess what, though? What they don't realize is it's because of the fucking feminist movement of today and the Me Too movement is why the women are being ignored without question. Why men are going straight over to the Mgtow manosphere. And why women are not able to find the good guys and what they consider the good guys to be ones that'll fucking be subservient to them, ones that'll do anything and everything like the blue pill simps do that pine for them, the ones that the women mostly put the ones that pine for them in the friend zone, and that friend zone situation is getting pretty damn old too. So basically, the friend zone acronym and the friend zone terminology is going to be obliterated eventually too. Thereby, guess what? That means the females don't have anybody except for themselves to pay for shit on their own. And if they open their legs at 10 and 2, and the and the guy still leaves them, and they end up having the child, and they can't find the fucking person, and they can't prove of who's really the father of said child if they decide to have the child or children, whichever the case, right? Then guess what? It's their own fault, yet they want to try to blame us men. Bad move there. You cannot blame something that women open their legs at 10 and 2 for. Women think that they have the golden vagina, the fucking genie's lamp. Yet when they open their legs at 10 and 2, thinking that by giving themselves in a sexual manner, that the guy will do anything and everything for the woman after giving them what what women have said. Oh, men only think about sex. Men only want us for our pussies. That type of thing, right? The basic fact is we could easily, strongly say, even more for surely say, that women only want men for our resources. Every time we say that, they try to more than cold-heartedly and steadily, stiffly deny that crap when they fucking know that they are only after our resources. And guess what? When it comes to the aspect of Dutch, here's the aspect, and I mentioned this before, but maybe not so clearly. Okay, when you first go on a date, and say it's both her first time and your first time, okay, in the dating concept or dating generalization, whatever you want to call it, then logically nowadays, especially seeing that women are supposed to be liberated and empowered and all this other shit nowadays, especially as well as they were supposedly supposed to be in the 1990s. You'd figure that they'd offer to pay theirs and you pay yours, and then eventually you pay for both, right? And then at one point, say on your birthday, she'll pay for both. Mm, That's not the way, unfortunately. They still expect it to be like the 19 fucking 50s, where guys pay for every little fucking thing under the sun, where women are not obligated or even expected to, or generally expected to pay for anything. And even if they do offer, that the guy is supposed to say, "No, I'll take care of it. Don't worry, babe. I'll take care of it." That's a whole generalization right there. Seriously. And I've told many women, even online, that this is no longer the 1950s. Men are not obligated any longer to pay for every fucking thing under the sun. Even when it comes to flying or taking a train or bus from one state to their state. If you women want to truly be with the guy that sounds so good to you, especially online, and you can trust that he's not a murderer or rapist or whatever the fuck else, right? Then guess what? You pay for your own fucking bus, train, or plane ride and taxi ride to meet up with him. I'm sure he'll meet up with you halfway, which being somewhere within his area of the state and his choosing of the state. Being that if it's in his county or in a county in his neighboring county within his state or what have you else, right? But the basic fact is that no woman is going to be allowed, especially when it comes to Mgtow, to expect the guy to pay for every little thing like it's the 19 fucking 50s. The 1950 era has long gone, and it's been gone for several years. That particular mindset of the 1950s has not been in play after the 1980s. Yes, it's been in play to a percentage in the 1960s. Yes, it's been in play since the 1970s. Yes, it's been in play since the 1980s. But in the 1990s, there are some that will go Dutch and some that won't. But the larger percentage don't. Only a very small to almost unheard of percentage, to the practical unheard of percentage, will go Dutch. Just like there's a percentage of women that are not in the aspect of trying to get at the man's resources. Those women are unheard of, guaranteed, and they're not really showing themselves. And of course, when I say showing themselves, I'm not saying that they have to dress so extravagantly to the point to where they're showing like they're easy and all this other stuff, but they just be themselves. Because we men can be ourselves, so and women claim to be themselves even as they try to get at our resources. That's not being themselves. Psychologically speaking, women used to be a lot more, shall we say, tamed. And I don't mean it in a derogatory way, okay? But the basic fact is that this is the truth. When women were in the matriarchal society, as well as men were in the matriarchal society, this was maybe hundreds or so more years ago. Something in between, everything was all hunky dory, pretty much like things were in the 1920s through the 20s through the 80s essentially, even though there was a bit of uproar in between, aside from wars and whatnot. Um, and when the matriarchal society happened, guaranteed, it was known as a male as it wasn't known as a male dominated society like it is now, especially. um, um, it was known as a female dominated society. Thereby things were essentially decided by women mostly. And then something went awry, to the points of unbalance. Who knows what? Only our ancestors know. Those who were in that time period know what made it go downhill to the points of unbalance. But when that happened, though, they had to just like the stock market, they had to rebalance crap, right? Rebalance the base of society itself. And lo and behold, everything went to the points of agreeable aspects of the male-dominated society. Because it could have easily been where it was seen that the harder shit that had to be done, the tougher shit, the heavier crap that had to be lifted, and all that, all the essentials like that, right? Were done mostly by men, not women. Women did the other aspects of keeping a house, like the old father knows best and leave it to beaver concept, if you will, in the 1950s. The way that, like, the housewife type of thing. Um, but then, but then, it got to the point to where women were able to vote, and then for some reason the government ignored that. Then at somewhere, when it came to the later points, right? Then of course women began to be able to vote even before the 1970s. But yet, and some also believe people, women were not able to vote officially and legally, essentially. At least this is, I'm just saying, this is for some people's perspective, not all. But some people still believe that they will not be able to vote until they were able to work after 1978. That's not the case. They were able to vote, but when it came to the working thing, yeah, they were able to work, um, but not to the points to where it became widely spread after the 1978. Because, like I said, from 1972 to 1978, ERA have marched across the U.S., all over the U.S., in different states at each different point within the 1970s, from 72, like I said, and they marched in Washington, D.C. Thereby, eventually, the bill of the Equal Rights Amendment Bill was passed after 79 to 80. Thereby, even though it wasn't officially passed in 78, they opened the door for women to work. to be in the working world, but very little, if any, women started going in the aspect of the working world. Very little. How I know that? Granted, yes, I was born in the 1970s. I'm not going to say when, but but as I got older, I began to learn more about this country's history aside from our wars that we've had in our past as well as present, and somewhere in between, especially. Um, and um, and the one thing is that too is that women want more. Obviously, they're tired of the same old Johnny come lately type of thing, as some people would probably call it. But the one thing is that there's there's one thing that they're not getting. The more they go to the points, the more the woman goes to the points of wanting higher entitlements more than the man, and not really see that, as I've said, the entitlement level will not change. It will still stay this way, even in the spiritual sense. It will still stay this way evenly. Yet there's, oh, the wage gap. Let's use the wage gap against the men. Let's use the wage gap against companies. Let's use the wage gap. You know what? You know what that'll do, ladies? If you keep on going against companies due to the so-called phony baloney bullshit wage gap, when there's no real fucking wage gap in the fucking first place, you'll fucking end up to where the socialist idiot Democrats will get their way. Like say, start in California. It's hellish to find employment out in California. It's hellish to find employment in other states, I'm sure. It's possibly easier in various numbers of states, like aside maybe aside from New York City and state, that it's practically almost impossible, or even practically to the point of impossible to find employment. And you want to make it more impossible to find employment to where you women yourself won't be able to find employment that you feel that you fit. It will happen the more you bitch about, oh, the wage gap, it's still not fair. Oh, the wage gap, it's still not fair. Oh, there's still a wage gap this and there's still a wage gap that. Oh, come on. Come the fuck on. Women have been known to make excuses that are not realistic. Women have been known to do a lot of things that are not in the base of reality. And yet, at the same time, guess what? By the Constitution, they have every God given right. But the one thing is that by doing so, they're not making things easy for themselves. They're making, and also on top of that, without realizing it, not only making it easy on them, they're also making it harder on others. And then as they keep on bitching about the wage gap to start with in the current part of the millennium, then guess what? They're going to make it even harder for not only in the marriage aspect, as we Mgtow have said, that the marriage rate will keep on going down equally as fast as the birth rate is going down, and the employment aspect of opportunities in which the liberal Democrats want, the job opportunities for both genders will be completely to the points of non-existent. And because one other aspect to it, many of you know, and I do mean many of you, even you feminist little bitch women, know this, that ever since the Obama administration, that the employment aspect of every business, even the chained ones, the well-known ones, especially the ones that have been around longer than we have to start with, have had to basically court to the new medical health laws when it came to the Obamacare situation. And guess what? That practically bankrupted them to where they had to close a number of stores. and to where they had to make large numbers of layoffs. Not all at once, granted, but every so often or so. Now this wage gap is causing even more of a bullshit. This wage gap bullshit in controversial crap from the feminist and Me Too movement is causing way more than havoc for both sides. And by claiming that there's a wage gap when there's not, guess what? You're not helping yourself by even getting a man that would also be able to benefit to help you living in the sense of the marriage and also surviving in the sense of marriage especially, or even being the points of affordable aspects of getting married to any man, you fucking feminist witches. We Mgtow know this. Many of those that don't, trust me, they do now. As everybody knows me as Mgtow Spock, logical Mgtow Spock, and everybody knows me that within the Mgtow manosphere. And I will not lie to anybody about anything or on anything. Not, and even as a humanitarian, citizen, business, disability, and also a health and education advocate, I have not lied to one person when with the information I've said on my advocate videos. And I'm not about to start now. And the MGTOW haters, male haters, as well as the female haters of MGTOW, need to realize this damn truth. Even McHenry himself needs to realize this damn truth. That it is because of the so-called feminist movement and Me Too movement that, one, the movements, the female movements, are not making it easy for women at all. Neither, and by McHenry calling him the MGTOW Slayer and a hero to women, to and for women, he's not the hero and to or for women. And he should he himself should realize that there's no such thing as the wage gap. That's only a feminist ploy, a bullshit fucking made up shit just to go after the government and after the male dominated part of society, just so they can be on a higher scale than the guy, just like women try to do when they try to take men for everything they have in the divorce proceedings of court, and think that's all well and good and just. No, it's not. McHenry, and as well as many other MGTOW haters that even call them slayers, I don't care if you're male or female, you should know this to be true. Because the more there's a bullshit aspect and made up feminist Me Too movement bullshit ploy of claiming that there's a wage gap when there really isn't, then you yourself will not be able to find a damn fucking level or base of employment. Everybody also, nobody would be able to find the base of employment, which basically leaves everybody on the base of Social Security for their whole entire life. And welfare might be reinstated because of it, like it was in the 1960s, 70s, and a good percentage of the 80s. And it will be because that wage gap bullshit is because of the cause of it. And yet, I know feminist Me Too movement little witches will try to blame us men for it. When it's really, fucking feminist female bullshit ploy. So therefore, you cannot blame us men for shit. Because you women, you feminist women, are the cause for the negative crap that's been happening, and to you as well. You want to keep on acting like you have the golden vagina. You want to act like you have the you have the genie's lamp that every guy has to be subservient to you just to get to what you feel that what you think and believe that they only want you for. You want them to better you, but also where they have the right to better themselves. Being the man has a right to better themselves equally. And you want to act like and you want to try to keep on pushing the fact that, oh, in the feminist movement, oh, men and women are equal. No, we're not. We will never be equal. We are our own separate beings. We will always be our own separate beings. We were always put in on this planet to be our own separate beings. And yes, I know there's many women still trying to change men from what first attracted the woman to the guy to something that the woman thinks that they should be and can be in the eyes of the feminist woman, so they can have more of a control over the man. But guess what though? Those same women that do that type of shit end up leaving the fucking dumbass and going for one that's even a lot more self-sufficient and secure within himself. And they try to do the same. It's a repeating fucking cycle there too. So basically, women will never be happy. Even if they got what they wanted, you'll never be happy. That's one thing you don't get when it comes to wealth and riches and shit like that. You think many people who are wealthy and rich that are able to even afford more are than say any number of us within this fucking country, especially. Do you think they're truly happy? No, I can guarantee you. They may seem like it. They're comfortable, yeah. They're more than well to do, yeah. But they're not really happy within themselves. And they know, and even if they were able to and willing to give all the money to the whole fucking country, they'd be right back where they started, just like we are where we are right now, even maybe way worse. I know I made more of a point now, haven't I? But of course, I know the feminist fucking Me Too movement little witches will ignore everything I said until they actually find, oh wait a minute, maybe he was right. No, it's no. There's no maybe. There's no maybe. Not an if. There's no. I wonder if you could have been. I wonder if you. I wonder if I should have listened closely. No, there's no if. No, there's no wonder. No, there's no fucking question mark of any site, type or sort or whatever the fuck else. You women wanted to be liberated to the point to where you were able to live on your own and take care of your own shit, your own fucking bullshit. Yet you want a guy to be with you, but yet you instead take use his finances, his budget, his basic salary for your own selfish benefit outside the child. And I wouldn't call the benefit for the child being selfish at all. I would not call that. But when it comes to women, yes, I would. Because that's exactly what all women have been only targeting the male's fucking resources, the male's fucking wallet of what how much he makes, and even if the guy worked in retail, oh, you're not worth my time. Judgment. If he works in fast food, oh, you're not worth my time. If he works in an amusement park, oh, you're not worth my time. If he works in any low paying minimum wage job, oh, you're not worth my time. I want one that can support both myself and the child. That's the only thing. That's the only two people they mention. They don't mention the three, being the guy, the child, and her. Or it could be in this case, the child comes first. In this case, then the guy, because he's the one that's making the fucking money, the most money anyway, even or if not the equal amount of money, and her. Because I know the reason I mentioned the guy in that sense. First off, after the child, is because that's what the women would use is his income, not hers, 100% guaranteed. And yet, yes, I know they will deny that shit too, won't you, feminist little witches? Even the Prim Reaper will deny it. The feminist Me Too follower Prim Reaper will deny that because she's a woman too. She has the same fucking mental fucking control aspects when it comes to men, when it comes to the mental psychological manipulation of men that women have done and they can get away with. And think that men will do anything and everything as long as they get what women think that men want, which is only one thing. Newsflash, ladies: men deserve more than just the sexual aspect. They want respect, understanding, and many other things of the emotional and psychological things that you women want. But we never get it because you expect us to give everything to you, and to hell with us. 100% of the time. Yet when you first fucking meet us, it's always that you always have us look at it as if it's this way, when really it's you and the guy. Yeah, I know you will even deny that shit. Even the Prim Reaper herself will fucking deny that shit. Because women, just like the Democrats, refuse to admit the truth. Because they, just like the Democrats, if the American people knew the truth, then we wouldn't be supported. We wouldn't be voted into office. And for women, if men knew the truth, and we'd have a hell of a more than a harder time to get them and their resources and their wallets and their incomes and their bank accounts to better ourselves. I know in many different ways and in many different aspects and topics that the Mgtow members in the Mgtow Manosphere have mentioned this, but I'm mentioning it straight fucking without fucking using it in different topics. So you might as well say this one is many different situations and topics video of Logical Mgtow. And many of those that women and the feminist movement will deny, just like the Democrats do. Now you see I'm calm now, don't you? I've said the truth. As they say, speak it, preacher. You can call me a preacher. I don't fucking care. But hey, I speak the truth on anything, especially when I do my advocate videos. I speak the truth. Women may not like the truth of what I said through this logical MGTOW thing, but guess what? The more men that watch this video and other videos of MGTOW, believe me, you'll fucking wake up. And believe me, the more men that wake up, the less chances you'll have to get at the male's resources. The less chances you'll have where men are subservient to your sorry ass witch feminist bullshit, mental fucking manipulative controlling crap. The basic fact is that it's in a spiritual sense in more ways than one. It's a sinful thing that the way women have become. And I can guarantee you, especially with the judgmental shit that even women direct towards us, especially in actions that they do, that they think they're going to be forgiven. Not, no. I have a strong spiritual feeling the more women do the repeated bullshit that women have done, even to men, no matter how many times, even after they repent one time, and I've said this before, even after the woman repents one time, but still continues the same shit, and even when it comes to the negative assumptions and judgments and shit like that, and name calling and whatnot, then you can forget it, ladies. Your soul will lead you straight to the pits of hell, no question. No ifs, ands, or buts. No, oh, come on, Heavenly Father, let us women do this. Oh, come on, Heavenly Father, we're not, we shouldn't be, you know, essentially put into the pits of hell for this shit. We deserve, we deserve what we deserve. Men have been getting things for what they deserve. Not today's day and age. Yeah, we're the stronger gender and all that, but due to the feminist movement, things are becoming way, way, way too mixed up. So, feminist movement, little witches, and Me Too movement, little bitches, you you can bitch and moan all you want, but it's not going to help you worth a damn. There's no wage gap whatsoever, fucking ever, and I'm telling you straight out, and I'm telling the government straight out, there's no fucking wage gap. There's never been a fucking wage gap. It's just a fucking feminist movement, Me Too movement ploy, and which basically is destroying employment very gradually, and fairly quickly it will happen like that, all in the same hit. And you remember how I mentioned social? If any of you watched my advocate video of the humanitarian advocate, you will hear me mentioning the base of socialism, and that's exactly what women are causing. Where there's no employment for anybody, either gender, but there is the points of concentration camps, and where we be basically working for the Democrats, essentially bending on hands and knees to kiss the fucking Democrats' fucking feet and whatnot, trying to as we try to gain back our rights and freedoms. And yet, women, you don't get it. The fucking liberal socialist Democrats don't give a damn about you, and they don't give a damn about us men either. So don't be fucking kidding yourself on that shit. The government can care less about you if you live or die. But guess what, though? I can help. I can help the American people as humanitarian advocate, as I am, to make sure nobody goes hungry, where nobody goes ignored by the government, where everybody is more than well taken care of equally, regardless of the fucking gender. But the more the women do this fucking feminist bullshit, especially with the phony baloney wage gap crap, you can forget it. I'll only do it for the fucking men and the children. It. I'll do it only for men and the children. If the feminists and the women that are not truly feminists, and the women that are not with the Me Too movement either. As an advocate, I can do that. But if a large percentage of women are feminist bullshit and do the things that we Mgtow talk about, guess what? It'll be only for the children and for the men, including the Mgtow men that I do the advocating for. And that means the feminist little bitches and witches, Me Too movement bitches and witches will be left out in the fucking dark. I, as an advocate, can do that. It's my God given right to do that within the Constitution of this country, if I so choose. But I will do it in the sense of teaching women a lesson, the feminist bitches and the Me Too witches a lesson. And I can do it in such a way that you won't like it and I won't give a damn. Because you women obviously don't give a damn. And even as a number of you women keep on going against the the fact that men are going away from you into Mgtow. You don't like that. Guess what? Life is shit at times, yes. But guess what? We all deal with it the best way we can. And us Mgtow members and men are dealing with it a lot better than you women. As the old saying goes, women age like milk. We men, as we age and still get the more attractive because we're able to take care of ourselves a lot more than we would be able to with the way you feminist women have been treating us men since the 1990s to current. Like what I say or not, I don't care because I'm telling it as it is and as it has been and as it will become. Another reason why I'm wearing this uniform is not only because I'm known as Mgtow Spock in the Mgtow manosphere. I'm known as Logical Mgtow Spock because I speak logic for one. And I speak the damn truth whether people want to believe me or not. I don't care. You will find out in due time, though, guaranteed. And I have, aside from the fact that I've been on this planet longer than most of you. Hell, I know I've been on this planet longer than the one with a Mgtow white hat with a black lettering and Mgtow. I know that for a fact. But the basic fact is, I know shit well enough that can and will and is happening, being that can happen and will happen and is happening if this negative shit happens continuously, even by the feminist movement, and if the fucking government gives into the feminist Me Too movement as they have so far. Even if the government believes that there's a fucking wage gap when really there's not. And yet the feminist movement and Me Too movement have convinced, obviously, the liberal Democrats that there is a wage gap when really there's no wage gap. So guess what, Democrats? You fucking fools were played for fools, in which basically, guess what, Democrats also, you are fools. Ever since JFK, you've lost your way, liberal fucking Democrats. Now it's only about the liberal Democrats. Um, Money and power and control. It's not about the American people or this country when it comes to the liberal Democrats. That's the truth. They will try to fucking lie through their teeth and tell you different, but I can guarantee you, I speak the truth. That's why I'm voting Trump, because I know Trump is about this country, Trump is about the American people, and Trump is about our youth and this country's future and our future as well, equally as for our youth's future. And if you signed up to be a Democratic voter, you could still vote for Trump. I voted for a Republican, even though many years ago I was a Democratic voter. I voted for a Republican at one point. But guess what, though? Ever since Obama and his bullshit policies, political policies, I went right to the conservative Republicans and signed up without question because I found out what the liberal Democrats were truly about. And it was not about the American people, and it was not about this country. It was only about them and their power and their fucking greed and control within the liberal Democratic Party. This is Logical Mgtow Spot. Live long and prosper, And know this, women, feminist bitches, and Me Too witches, we Mgtow men and other men are going to keep on staying away from you and keep walking away from you. And we will not be subservient to your sorry asses, your sorry little feminist asses, and many men are still going to be walking towards the Mgtow and away from your manipulation crap. And guess what? It's no one's fault but the you feminist bitches and witches, and Me Too feminist bitches and witches. So therefore, have fun being alone and have fun struggling on your own with no man. This is Logical Mgtow Spock. To all men, even Mgtow men and brothers and members, please stay safe, stay strong, stay Mgtow, Mgtow for life.